My Lords, I rise to move Amendment 13 standing in my name, and in doing so I would like to speak to all of the amendments in this group, all of which are in my name, with the exception of Amendment 157 in the name of the noble Lord Pickles. These are interlinked amendments. They work together. There is effectively only one amendment going on in this amongst these various amendments, and I was challenged by one noble lord a day or two ago as to whether I could summarise in a sentence what the amendment does. And the answer is, I think I can. It is that Section 23 of the bill imposes various duties on search engines. And what this amendment does is to remove one of those duties only from search engines that fall into category 2B. There are two categories of search engines, 2A and 2B. 2B are the smaller search engines. Now, we do not know the difference between 2A and 2B in greater detail than that, because the schedule that relates to them reserves to the Secretary of State the power to set the thresholds that will define whether a search engine falls into 2A or 2B. But I think it's clear that 2B are the smaller ones. And this amendment, this group of amendments, pursues therefore a theme that I brought up in committee earlier in the week, when I argued that the bill was putting excessively onerous obligations on smaller businesses, onerous and unnecessary obligations on smaller businesses. The particular duty which is being taken away by these amendments from smaller search engines is the duty referred to in clause 23(2) of the bill, that is, a duty in relation to a service to take or use proportionate measures relating to the design or operation of the service to effectively mitigate and manage the risks of harms to individuals as identified in the most recent illegal content risk assessment of the service. And the purpose in doing that is to recognise that very large numbers of smaller businesses do not pose a risk according to the government's own assessment of the market, and to allow them to get on with their business without having to take these onerous and difficult measures. And that is the purpose. It's a probing amendment. It is again trying to find out what it is the government is willing to do in relation to smaller businesses that will make this a workable bill. I can already imagine that there are noble lords in the chamber who will say that small does not equal safe, and that small businesses need to be regulated with the same rigour and be covered with the same regulation as larger businesses. But I am not saying that small equals safe. What I am saying, what I attempted to say when the committee met earlier, is that absolute safety is not attainable. Absolute safety is not attainable in the real world, and nor can we expect it to be attainable in the online world. So I do hope, I imagine that objection will be made. I see it has some force, but I don't think it has sufficient compelling force to put the sort of burden on small businesses that this bill is doing, and I would like to hear more about it. I will only say one other thing, and that is, I think those who object to this approach need to be sure in their own minds that they are not contributing to creating a piece of legislation which, when it comes to be in operation, is so difficult to implement that it becomes discredited. I think there needs to be a recognition that this has to work in practice, and if it doesn't work in practice, if it creates resentment and opposition, then what we'll find is the government not bringing sections of it into force, or we'll find that they will have to repeal them or go easy on them once the blowback starts, so to speak. But with that, I would beg to move.